Hi guys, Alex here, and today is the day of the week your pickle is about to get tickled. Of course, the lineup for this week is Google snitching on you in ways that you cannot imagine. It literally broke my heart when I found out. Literally. We have sinking skyscrapers in San Francisco and of soggy fries, hopefully this year, we'll find out from Wendys. And we have grown-up people suing their parents for porn, which is super disappointing.
No! God, please, no! No!
In between, we have some green news and other exciting stories. So let's get your pickles out and get them ready to get tickled. To the news. We will start with the most disappointing news I've heard in a very long time. It completely destroyed my faith in large corporations. So we have Geofence warrants, and what it is basically a law enforcement organization can, without any approval from the government, go to large companies like Google, Microsoft, Apple, Uber, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it, to any organization, large ones, and say, look, I need information on all devices that were in this specific area at this period of time. So let's say in Covent Garden from 1 to 4 p.m. I need all the devices that were there at that specific time. And companies have to comply. They have to give that information out. In retrospect, so you understand what's happening. In 2018, there were 941 of those requests from law enforcement to Google. And we're just talking about Google, all right? In 2020, there is more than 11,000 of those requests. And so you understand a geofence warrant or request, right? It can contain thousands of devices. For example, in 2019, one geofence warrant requested information for over 1,500 devices. How it works? Law enforcement gives the request to Google. Google has to comply and it gives the information. It gives the GPS location and timestamps when this particular device was in this area. And it gives a unique ID which is specifically designed so you can link it to any people, so it's anonymous, which is good. Then the government receives that information, they do their own magic and they narrow down the list. Say they had 1,000 devices, now they have 800 that they confirm they want more information on. They send this specific list to Google again, and Google then gives out specific information about each device. It will give your name, your email address, and all personal information they have on you to law enforcement without your consent. Literally, you have no control over it. And it's not only Google. Google is actually the only company that specifically in their transparency report outlines how many of those requests are made by law enforcement. And at the moment, in 2021, it amounts to more than 25% of all law enforcement requests to Google. Can you imagine literally just being somewhere nearby to a situation that took place somewhere that you have nothing to do with? Your information, your personal information, will be shared with law enforcement as a potential suspect. And then law enforcement can contact you and literally get you arrested and bring you into their office to discuss what has happened. And the problem is, it's not only Google that they're taking this information from. They go to Uber, Apple, Microsoft, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, any corporation they can go to and say, here's a Geofence warrant, give me that information.
Give them to me now.
And the company has to comply with it. There is nothing they can do about it. The problem is that these warrants are not really checked by anyone. So in the standard situation when a law enforcement agency wants to find out more information about you and they want to do a search in your house, for example, or tough wire you or whatever they need to do, they have to go to the judge and judge has to approve it. And they have to present information, say, listen, this guy is dangerous. This is all the data that we have. This is why we need more information about him. And judge approves it, right? With geofence warrants, they don't need it. They literally just some guy in a law enforcement organization can just like, yeah, I need information about all devices in this specific area. Give it to me right now. And Google will comply. There's no judge involved in this process. There is no due diligence in this process, and that's very scary. And that's what broke my heart, because I'm using Google all the time and I love the Google Maps history, which tells kind of me where I was at any specific given time and place. It's super helpful, super useful to me. And I realized that it can be used. So any law enforcement organization can be just like, that's Alex. That's where he was at that time. Maybe he's a suspect. Why don't we bring him in? And that's what really upsets me and disappoints me. The thing is, there's nothing you can do about it, literally nothing, except maybe protests or write to the government, but like, who gives a shit, right? So more likely than not, nothing you can do, which is very disappointing, but probably another stone into the direction that more people will want more privacy when it comes to Google or any of their devices. Very upsetting that Apple also gives that information out because they are very privacy focused, but turns out not really. When government is involved, there is no such thing as privacy. Good to know. To the next news. To the more cheerful news, we have the cows spotted in McDonald's drive-thru. I know it's difficult to distinguish fat people nowadays from cows because they're so goddamn fat. Jesus Christ! Americans, calm down! Stop eating all the shit! And the disappointing thing, UK is turning into USA, basically. We have a lot of fat, obese people as well. And it's not body shaming because it's not good for your health. Anyway, so we have cows in the car, as you can see in the video, literally just chilling there in the car, just like in McDonald's drive-thru. Turns out cows are little baby cows that were just purchased by some guy, and he was going from an auction home, bringing those cows home. The interesting part is that there are 3 of them in there. 2 other cows, little baby cows, were just laying down sleeping. You can see them in the video, but you have 3 cows in a car going to McDonald's drive-thru where the guy's going to eat their mom. I know, it's a bad joke. Anyway, so it is what it is. Kind of funny, kind of interesting. And yeah, to the next news. Next news is about the abundant like button underneath this video. If you can be so kind as to take your pickle out and poke it once, that would be great. Thank you very much if you did so. Subscribe to that channel if you feel like it as well, and leave your comment down below about the news that I have not covered yet. I would love to get your opinion on what's going on in the world. Thank you very much. To the next news. Next news is about Wendys ending the soggy fry business. So as you know, we are progressively living in a world which is full of deliveries and everything is being delivered. Thank God. But the problem is when you order something from Five Guys, Wendys, or you name it, and you order fries, it tends to happen that fries become soggy in the 20-30 minute window they are getting delivered to you. And the reason for that is science, because of condensation. Look it up. And Wendys thought about it and said, listen, that's not right. People want to have their crispy fries, and they goddamn right we do.
You're goddamn right.
So what they decided to do is to create a fry that will not get soggy on its way to you. About time. The way they go about it is they are covering their fries in butter, and not to be confused with butter, because butter and butter is not the same thing.
What the hell are you talking about?
Butter that they are coating it in is actually a mixture of flour, water or some other liquid with salt, sugar and some other shit, which literally makes it even worse for your health. Fries as it is pretty bad for you, although they're bloody delicious and I love them, but covered in butter, not butter, they are even less healthy to you and probably will kill even more people because of heart attacks and other things that buttery stuff cause. So if you think that extra crispiness in the fries deserves an extra few years off your life, which probably it does, then Wendys cracked the code because people don't care about what they eat pretty much as long as it's delicious and crispy, and probably won a little bit more business to their side. So maybe it's a good idea to buy their stock. Maybe. Not a financial advice. Till next news. Next news is hilarious. It's about a man who is 43 years old in Michigan who went through a divorce, obviously because 3 out of 4 couples go through divorce because people don't communicate well with each other. Literally, the solution to all problems is proper communication, but it's super hard to do. Anyway, so the guy gets divorced and moves back with his parents for 10 months. With him, he takes his collection of porn, so probably not surprising why he got divorced. And the father threw away his porn collection. And the guy sued him. He was like, you know what, father, f you should not have thrown it away. And he won the case, and he won about $30,000 and completely ruined the relationship with his parents, of course. And yeah, now he is a proud owner of £30,000, a divorce, which will probably take half of his shit, and a ruined relationship with his parents, which are probably the only people that would have ever loved him. So I guess that's a win for the guy, or probably not. Anyway, I think it's wrong to sue your parents, even if they do something wrong, and especially to sue them over porn. That's just stupid. So f that guy, and to the next news. Next exciting news is about a company in Norway, Norway company called Yara International. What they've done in 2018, they launched a project where they wanted to build the first ever completely green, zero-emission, electric, crewless container ship, which is capable of carrying, I believe, about 130 containers, which is super awesome. And they did. They've built it, and it will go on sea this year. The first question that popped into my mind, pirates. If it's unmanned, crewless ship, more likely than not, pirates will just jump on it and start stealing shit. Turns out they will swim it only around Norway, so very unlikely that any pirates will be there. Awesome Norwegians, check out Yara Birkeland is the ship that it's called. It looks super futuristic, super cool, and hopefully we'll see more green electric stuff out there, because I think electric vehicles of any kind is super awesome. To the next news. Next news is about San Francisco. In there, in 2009, they built the biggest, the most expensive, obviously, skyscraper, 58 stories high. And they were expecting it to sink about 4 to 6 inches. It turns out when you build a massive skyscraper, they actually do sink about 4 to 6 inches to settle into the ground. And that's normal, which is insane. But those 4 to 6 inches happens over their lifetime, over 30, 40 years. As people move in and stuff, it kind of sinks and it's fine. But 6 inches in a massive building, you won't really notice. So in 2014, the building sunk actually 18 inches and it tilted 14 inches to west, which is obviously not right. People got worried, and the company that would build the building, they obviously compensated all the people that lived in apartments by probably a lot of money. They undisclosed how much it is, and proposed a way to fix it. $100 million project to fix the building and make sure it doesn't sink anymore. As they start drilling it basically a few days ago to put extra support in, the building tilts another few inches. And now it is tilted 22 inches to the west, which is insane. So they stopped all the works because they had no idea why it continues to sink and how to fix it. But actually they're just like, we don't know what to do. So they will try to figure it out, and hopefully they will nice and soon. And hopefully the building won't fall. I don't think skyscrapers are built to fall. And I think, 18 inches of sinking is okay with them. They're not gonna fall over. But can you imagine? Jesus Christ, in the middle of San Francisco, 58-story building, just like... So hopefully that doesn't happen and they find a way to fix it. We will continue watching what will happen with the building. And yeah, exciting news. Who knew that in the 21st century you can have a building that sinks so much and almost falls over? Insane. To the next news. Next news is about Nestflix, which is not to be confused with Netflix. So there is a lady who is an artist and a web designer, obviously, Lynn Fisher, who loved the shows inside other shows. So as if you can imagine, we have like a TV show like, say, Rick and Morty, for example. And inside that you have heroes watching some shows on their TVs. And some people are very curious about those shows and like, well, I wish we could watch them. And Lynn Fisher decided to fuck this shit. It's about time we can. And she created a website. She called it Nestflix because of nested shows. And you can go there and browse all the shows which are inside other shows. And you can't really watch the shows, obviously, because nobody made them, but you can at least browse all of them, and you can submit your request for a show that's not on there. And you say, like, in this show, there was another show that they were watching, and you didn't put it on there, so please edit, and she will edit, probably, at some point. So yeah, that's exciting. Hopefully, the movie makers and TV show makers will look at this website, and they'll be like, probably people want to see some of these shows. So why don't we make those shows? And that'll be super cool to have an actual Nestflix, which actually creates the shows for the shows that are inside the other shows. bloody mindfuck. But it is what it is, super exciting. Go check it out, have a look. The link in the description below. Not sponsored, obviously. Don't get paid to do anything nowadays. And yeah, exciting stuff. That has been it. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope I tickled your pickles with my news. If I did, poke that like button, that would be super cool. Tell your friends, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment below. I would love to know what you think. I really do, and I will answer genuinely. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
We triple up, they on a double up, triple dub. Came from the basement, we only going up. They loving us. Up in the booth, I'm getting dizzy, but they the cup is up. Toast to my people that's on the come up, and you live with us.